Hola, ¿cómo está Las Vegas? And welcome to Pace the Tribune with the legendary Rolando LaRosse. I'm your co-host, Chris Garcia. Today we have a special guest. Bob Beers is with us today. And with that, Rolando, how you feeling today?
I'm doing great for an old man. You know, I always try to do my best, especially when my friend Bob Beers is here. He got a lot of things to talk to us about.
You're very kind.
You know, I am sure that he's one of the best public servants that we have in Las Vegas. Always been my favorite guy.
Well, thank you.
We went to lunch one time, Chris, and it was lunchtime. We last almost 4 hours in that lunch.
That's
That was a very long show. So, Bob, are you running again?
I am running again.
You're next year, right?
The city is on the 6-month offset cycle, so we have spring elections. This has been a subject of some controversy because it's a really inefficient way to do things. Elections are very difficult and expensive to hold, and rather than conform to the November schedule that everyone else is on, the city forever has been on this offset by 6-month cycle. I'm helping advocate at my city hall that we move on to that November cycle along with everybody else.
Sure,
It would
that
save
would be
money.
But let me ask you, wouldn't that be a little more difficult to raise money when you got such an important races like, important for other people, not for us?
I think that the real difficulty is almost not, it's also almost just a psychological issue, which is it makes some of my colleagues feel less special to be on the big ballot with all the judges and everybody else, I think. And so that's kind of where the city's at, is having that internal discussion right now as to how we'll hold these elections. I think for the next probably 3 of them, we've been given, as part of a negotiated deal with Clark County, a good rate to pay for the cost of our elections. And so we have a number of cycles now, I think 3 or 4, that we've contracted with the county to get done at a reduced rate. The county is anticipating that over that period of time, we would make that transition to the November cycle. It's not impossible, Rolando, because up in Washoe County, Reno and Sparks have all gotten in sync with the November schedule.
They did already?
They did already in Washoe County, so they no longer have those 6-month offset elections in Washoe County.
That's
So it's conceivably doable.
But it would be confusing in the beginning, right?
It would be
a little bit.
It would probably, near as our attorneys can figure out, if the city of Las Vegas were to do that, then I would see my total maximum amount of time I could have this office for reduced by 6 months. And probably no impact for others. That was if we got the ball rolling right now. There's a process here where somebody's going to get shorted by 6 months if we do this. We had it down where we could do it now, and I would be the only one, and I was fine with that. But my colleagues didn't do it, and Clark County, in that negotiated deal, resolved the pain we were having, which was they were going to start billing us the full cost of the elections. And
wow,
that was going to hurt. So
that was going to hurt.
We have been working extra hard this year on the relationship between the city of Las Vegas and Clark County. It's been stormy and rocky at times, but we do a lot of things together, in no small part because there are some very large, islands of land inside city limits that are not part of the city. They're actually unincorporated Clark County islands within the city.
Right.
We provide sewer service to a lot of the people in there, and so we have sewer infrastructure on county land. And you can imagine the kind of chaos that would result if, say, the county started demanding that we get permits through their permitting department to go work on our sewer line that happens to be on county land. So we
well, I don't think that would be too much of a problem for the city. You guys love those permits and those business licenses and all this and that. You love that. We
always have those discussions about the importance of citizens in this process. They're kind of the forgotten force in the large government world that we built here in Southern Nevada.
Yeah, because I keep saying it every time. Stavro was here the other day, Stavro Antonis, your colleague in the city council, and we talk about that too. I don't remember ever have to have a state license to get a business license in the city.
That was instituted in 2003
And I asked,
or 2007, the state legislature.
and I ask everybody, give me the NRS number. Nobody has the NRS number.
Yeah, I do.
You do?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Do
No,
you
that was a-
agree?
that
Do
was-
you agree with that? Did you
Oh,
vote
I
for it?
voted against it. when I
You
was in-
voted against that.
Carson
It is
City.
criminal.
Well, it is. You know.
You don't have, I mean, in the old days,
Here's the deal. We have certain things we need to get done and nobody wants to do. Nobody really wants to pick up the trash and take it to the dump. Nobody really
okay, I
wants
tell
to
you
spend
what,
all
I
day
volunteer out of paycheck.
potholes.
I don't need a
And
paycheck.
you will get tired, you will stop doing it, and trash will pile up. And that's
I
how it works.
volunteer. I
So,
promise you, because my best intention is to have the best city of them all,
And-
like old Forrest Duke used to call.
I remember Forrest.
You remember
And
Forrest Duke?
so we have government, and we all chip in a little bit, and to make sure that everyone actually chips in their part, we give government the power of compulsion. It's the only business enterprise in the United States that has the power of compulsion. I can compel you to give me money. If you don't, fine. I have a prison for you. I have liens on your property. And that is government. That is the way it works. It is not a option. You don't get a choice as to whether you're going to.
No, but I don't find anything wrong with
that
that.
license was a move by the state to increase its revenue.
Of course, that was Ross Miller.
It was before Ross, and it was legislature.
It was before Ross.
They gave it was. They gave the Secretary of State's office the responsibility for administering it, but Secretary Miller did not have a vote on the enabling legislation. It was absolutely a legislative matter. It was a legislative.
So what can we do to take that thing off?
You talk to your state legislators. You can, if you're mad enough, you can run for the legislature yourself. We do have one of the last remaining citizen legislatures here, and you go knock door to door and you talk to the neighbors and you say, "I'd like to go up Carson City and represent you, and here's why." And if they elect you, you go up and do your 4.5 months, and that's essentially where that business license fee came from. And the only way it can be modified is through that process.
Wow.
Bob, just for the people listening on Radio Tribune and watching on the internet, would you please state your name and your position here?
My name is Bob Beers, and my position is uncomfortable.
Who's your bodyguard?
Because I got Rolando asking me difficult questions.
Who's your bodyguard?
That is John Bear. He is one of my
He
Ward
is
2
the guy
team
who
members.
runs that office there.
He is one of my Ward 2 team members, and the three of us, there's another Vicky Skilbread, and the three of us are the Ward 2 unit. We're the combined complaint department and the get her done department. And it's really a privilege and an honor to have gotten elected to this thing. I have so much fun every day. I get guilt that I'm having so much
I know
fun
you do.
and
I know
paid
you
paid
do.
as much as I'm paid. And then I sit back and I say to myself, I shouldn't have guilt because someone has to be doing this job.
And
By
no,
law,
and
someone
who else
will
better-
be doing this job.
And who else better than Bob
I'm
Beers?
doing the best job I can doing it.
You do. You
And
do it.
have
And
fun
I
at the
tell
same
you,
time.
I think if what's up to you, probably it will be running more efficient. Because I know you for a long time, and I know you are a perfectionist. I know you like everything to be right, and I'm not being a hypocrite. I have said that before many times. And maybe we can have a better streets instead of have potholes in every street that you go through.
Yeah.
I tell you, I left my house today and I had a glass of milk, and in my way out, I got a spoon of chocolate. And when I got here, I got a milkshake because the streets are so bad. Who is in charge of constructing. Who's in charge of those things?
Well, by the time you drive back home, hopefully it'll be turned to butter.
Yes.
Yeah, right. I got it.
Who's in charge of that?
Well,
Isn't each city
streets.
council has a...
Oh yeah. Well, the streets are one of the things that the city government does and provides. And
that's why it's so bad?
Outside of city limits, it's the Clark County government. And in Henderson, it's the Henderson city government. And then all of this is under
Mr. Beer, excuse
umbrella,
me. I believe that I invite the city council. I don't want to talk about the county. I don't want to talk about the strip.
But it's important because when you cross Sahara,
I didn't cross Sahara.
That's not.
I didn't cross Sahara. Wyoming and Commerce is Las Vegas.
And under construction.
Arville and Sahara is.
If there
is Las Vegas.
Potholes on Commerce, it's because Commerce is about to undergo a significant construction project. And they're probably not filling them for the last few seconds before they engage in this project.
Oh, what is it going to do over there?
Commerce, where it hits Maine between Bonneville and Charleston, okay? And then all the way down to Sahara, or almost all the way down to Sahara, it's going to be one way on Commerce and one way on Maine, just like the city has converted Bonneville and Lewis to one way.
One way will be going south to north?
Correct.
Or north to south, to the strip?
Both.
Are you guys promoting the strip business?
No, you know what that came from is, if you've been down there, and you have.
I have, believe me, I have.
You see an awful lot of really forlorn-looking buildings, some of them boarded up and vacant. Boarded buildings cause other problems. They cause fires. And
but I didn't see the boarded up. I'm too busy holding my wheels.
Try to stop your drink from turning to butter. Yeah. So it's really a beautification project. So it's going to not only go with a couplet approach with two one-way streets, but it's going to have extra broad sidewalks with trees planted on it and decorated medians, similar to Main Street. From the intersection with Commerce going to the north, over by City Hall now, between Bonneville and downtown, Main Street, if you've driven it lately, has undergone a makeover. It's got trees in the median, and it's got benches and broad sidewalks, and it's much more walkable. And
Main Street?
Main Street, and that's the same kind of treatment that they're going to do at the Commerce Main project.
I don't remember.
The city is very complicated, but the city has a.
You mean in the corner of City Hall? A block from City Hall, Main and Bonneville?
Yeah. Main.
They got
Bonneville.
trees in the middle?
Oh yeah, I'll drive it today. And on the sidewalk. It's an upgrade. And so the city has a redevelopment agency, and the redevelopment agency gets to skim off the amount of property tax attributable to increased property value since it formed 30 years ago. And they use that money to make the area prettier and property values more valuable.
Yeah.
After a period of decades, they dissolve as a matter of law. And hopefully through this process, the city has embraced blight. In practice, the city doesn't do a very good job at this. This is where all the debacles of the past from Main Street Station to Neonopolis all arose out of this function. But conceptually, it's the kind of thing you can figure. You get a college class to say a 90% rate. Yes, professor, that makes a lot of sense. And then you inject us politicians, and we're just people, and it kind of goes south there.
And so when they start
but that beautification is all part of one of the pieces that's working, I think, of this redevelopment.
When they start working on Main Street and Wyoming and Commerce, are they going to stop working on Oki Boulevard? Because since I was in high school, they've been fixing Oki Boulevard between Decatur and Rancho.
Yeah.
There's always something to do with that.
No. My mom told me 1,000,000 times not to exaggerate.
I'm not exaggerating.
You are exaggerating a little. You're exaggerating a little.
I'm not exaggerating. Between Rancho and And
I know.
actually, I think, well, Decatur would be more exact.
Yep.
Without exaggerating.
There was a big project that just was about to get done. That is not in Ward 2, and I know pretty comprehensively in my head what the projects are in Ward 2, because that's kind of how city council works.
That's your project.
No, I'm west of Buffalo. So I only have Okie for a short period of time west of Buffalo.
All the way over there.
All the way up to the west.
For Apache?
Yeah, that's in Ward 2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I can't tell you when the schedule is for that project to stop. It may have stopped.
Man, since I can remember, they've been working.
I know. And you know, my mom used to swear that this would be a whole different place if they had some place to store orange cones. But because they don't, they just randomly line them up on our streets.
Your mom is a very, very wise young lady. She's a wise young lady. What is your area? You are over there where the rich people are, right?
West of Buffalo. There are some certainly in my ward.
West Buffalo.
West of Buffalo, city limits is kind of hard to describe. It's generally Sahara, but way out in the west, there's a piece that cuts out and picks up the lakes. It actually dives all the way south to DI along Buffalo.
Yeah.
And then runs up to Wallapai, and then Wallapai back down to Charleston, and then Charleston out to the mountains. So that's the southern boundary of Ward 2, and then to the north, I go up basically to Lake Mead.
Yeah, because I've been here for a while. To me, Las Vegas is nothing more than Jones. Jones to Boulder Highway.
And it never takes longer. It never takes longer than 15 minutes to drive over
Lake Mead to Tropicana. Don't ask me anything about Summerlin and Green Valley. All those people, you ask people, do you live in Henderson? Oh, no, I live in Green Valley.
Yeah, we really are almost two different cities. The city is currently looking at attempting to pass an ordinance to require sprinklers in 1- and 2-story residences. So to have the big commercial sprinkler systems in 1- and 2-story houses. And it's kind of interesting to look at fire-related fatalities over 10 years period of time. 90%, probably 95% of them have been east of Rainbow, and 5% of it have been west of Rainbow. And the difference is the MGM fire. That was about the edge of town when the MGM fire took place.
Yes. And
the state and local governments implemented much stricter than national standard fire codes, which have caught up with us now.
Yeah.
But that division line of the MGM fire is where, in a modern house built after that period of time, you pretty much have to use a blowtorch to catch it.
And you know what? I don't disagree with that.
But in the older properties where we didn't have those stringent rules, for example, in my house, I bought it, and it already had hardwired into the electricity on the ceiling were smoke detectors. In older homes, you don't have that wired-in smoke detector. You have to figure something else out. And it's improvements like that, in not just in the obvious things like smoke alarms, but in the construction standards as well, that have really made houses built since 1982 to 85.
I don't see anything wrong with that because it can save life.
Yeah.
And look at the other day, I was reading.
Well, the downside is that for a young couple, looking for their first home, probably in the $250,000 range, it would probably add $2,500 to their costs, to the cost of their first home. And you have to ask, are they going to get any benefit from it? Obviously, it confines a fire to the room of origin. But if it's in a house that, according to current codes, is already pretty darn fireproof, then does it make sense?
I was reading in that little newspaper on Bonanza Road, there was a lady, an old lady the other day, that got into a fire and she lost her life.
But where?
In Las Vegas,
I know, but that is how we are kind of two cities, in that there's an old part and a new part. And the fire code's been implemented in the new part.
Yeah,
Seem to
yeah.
have
I don't know
solved the
where it
problem.
was. All I know is they got trapped in there. So it must be the old Las Vegas. And because there's a bunch of new streets now that I don't know where they are. But, I don't.
No, it's gone.
Especially in the last 10 years or 12 years.
Just since I got elected, Rolando, when I took office.
How long you been in office now?
Almost 5 years now.
That's it?
4 3/4 years. And the city, when I got elected, had about 600,000 people in it. And now the number is 620,000. So in just 5 years.
You only been there 5 years?
Not even 5 years. I'll have my 5th anniversary on April 4th.
So you got one more term besides this one?
I actually was first elected in a special election that the council decided to hold when Steve Wilson became the district attorney.
Right.
That occurred at the tail end, actually not even the tail end, a little bit more than halfway through his last term on the city council.
Right.
So I filled a year and a half of his term, unexpired term. That doesn't count for me for term limits. So for term limits, I'm actually coming to the end of my first 4-year term. If I'm successful getting reelected early next year, then I'll have a second 4-year term.
Well, we make sure that you get.
And I have so much fun doing this job, I can't imagine not trying to do it again 4 years after that.
You can count on me to make sure that you get elected.
Well, thank you very much.
Even though I don't live in
Even though you don't, well, tell them there's not all rich.
But I got 1 or 2 people that listen to the radio.
Oh yeah,
and maybe sometimes say
it's the best medium of them all.
Really?
Oh yeah, I'm a radio guy from way back. When you first moved to town, I was.
I work on YouTube all over America every
When
day.
you first moved to town, I was doing mornings on KLUC.
Oh really? Wow. Whatever happened to that radio station? They're still on?
They're still on. In fact, Chet Buchanan spent his last weekend parked on top of a scaffold at the top of the NV Energy building collecting toys and bicycles for underprivileged children. He actually lived up on the thing 24 hours a day for like a week or something. So they're still around, still plugging away on the community, and it was a great job when I had it, but it was much better. I was in the news part of it, which has changed a lot. And it was time for me to get a grown-up job.
What do you do now besides?
Really, now all I'm doing is city council
and
related volunteer functions that have to do with better expenditures of government tax
So
dollars.
you don't have.
I had a CPA firm that I started in 2009.
Yeah.
When I got elected to the city council, I sold it to some youngsters from Deloitte, and they took it over, and they're off running it. And
Your kids?
I'm retired.
Your kids?
You what?
Your youngers? You mean your son? Your son?
No. They're other kids, younger than me, which is everyone. They're just some folks at UNLV graduates who worked at Deloitte.
No, I thought maybe you did the same thing that Donald Trump is doing with his kids.
I do have a grandchild now, though.
You do?
That's kind of new from when I got elected to city council. My daughter lives up in Bedford, Oregon. She fell in love with a young man at UNLV, and he had to go home to pay in-state tuition. And every time her dad starts making money, he goes to work for the government. So she had to stay home to pay in-state tuition. They both got their degrees, and she moved up there, got married, and they had a baby who was 2 years old, and it's one of the great joys of our personal life these days.
It is.
And then I've got a 21-year-old up at UNR.
Well, your buddy established also is a grandfather.
Yes, he just, in fact, I posted on my Facebook page his first picture he posted with a comment that now that we both have grandbabies,
Do you know
maybe nothing will ever happen at City Hall ever again.
Do you know how to do that, or you have somebody doing it?
I had an instruction manual.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm trying
Now
to
kids
convince.
have their-
I'm trying to convince. I'm trying to work somebody to do that because I don't know anything about that. Yeah, but the day the established was here is the day that his grandkid was born. Yeah. And that was a nice thing. Now, let me ask you something. You're not a pot smoker, right? So
No.
you don't smoke. But do you agree with the marijuana recreational law?
You know, it's hard to categorize people politically. we all try to put labels on people. And one of the
I'm not trying to put labels on anybody.
One of the libertarian pieces of me is that it does not make sense for us to spend the kind of taxpayer money that we spend locking people up for marijuana. And that's really the piece that bothered me the most is
Right.
I don't believe that it accomplishes any good for society, and it's very, very expensive. And so from that's kind of what drives me is taxpayer efficiency.
You've been here for a very long time, right?
46 years.
46 years. So you remember the old days in the strip when the bellmans used to send the girls to the rooms, right? It was not legal, but it was...
Before all the owners had MBAs?
Yes, yeah. Right. When the Las Vegas was the best city of them all, you know.
Still is.
But, well, that's a matter of opinion right now, you know. But I remember it was not legal, but it was tolerated. It was part of, actually, to be honest with you, I think it was part of life and everywhere. Because I went to Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I saw bellman sending girls to the room. They didn't send it to my room because I didn't have any money, because I'm a poor little Cuban refugee, you know, but I do remember.
How many years have you been here?
63 years.
Well, you're now a native. I hereby confer upon you, Orlando. You're now a native Las Vegas.
Okay, so what's going to happen with the stadium? Let's forget about the marijuana, because I know that you don't have any objection to spend money and arguing that.
The stadium. Well, we look around the country and we see resoundingly that it is a poor economic investment for governments. You don't, I mean,
now,
everybody agrees.
Speak English now. Tell me that in English.
Governments do nothing but lose money hand over fist when they own stadiums. With that as my guiding premise, I am opposed to our government owning stadiums. So that being said,
but your government is not going to own the stadium. The taxpayers of your city is going to be paying the tax, the high price.
Taxpayers of Clark County, including those in the city.
Yes.
And they'll make an argument, oh, no, we're taxing tourists.
No,
well,
you don't.
Except that if it falls short, then it comes out of
I believe it's more than 5,000 people.
Let's step back. First of all, we didn't get to be a global giant, the entertainment capital of the world, by offering visitors stuff they can get at home. We got there by offering visitors stuff they can only get here.
Right.
And, that may have been in 1910 in a wooden high-rise 2-story flop house at Fremont and 3rd, a bellman sending a girl. I don't know. But it also included things like getting suntans in February. It included things like the Grand Canyon. It includes things like experiencing 115 degrees, which most people around the nation don't get to do. That's rather novel. It includes zip lining down Fremont Street. It includes so many things that you can only do here.
That's right.
Most of our market, our tourists, can do an NFL game nearly any weekend that they want. And so it doesn't make sense to triple down, in essence, with taxpayer money, to build a facility that offers more of the same. In Los Angeles, you can go see a superstar in a 60,000 seat auditorium literally 5 nights a week. It's not special. And that's what we have had here.
You can do it in Miami too. You can do it in Pittsburgh.
So I'm a little concerned that the business model doesn't make sense. And that is an issue.
But do you think it's going to come? You think
Now
it's
you
gonna-
get to the seminal question, do we even have to worry about the fact that the business model doesn't make sense for our city because it might not even happen?
it might not even
So
happen.
I think the Raiders are probably
It's gonna stay in Oakland.
going to stay in Oakland. That's probably what.
And I predicted that. In my poor little English, I predicted that. Somebody didn't understood me, but
There have been 4 stadiums built since the recession around the country, and one of them approached the cost of what was proposed here, but that's because it has 2 stadiums and 2 NFL teams in it. It's the Giants and the Jets play in one stadium. So you have a super stadium with max deluxe stuff, but you have 2 teams sharing the cost of it. This was going to be as expensive as that stadium, allegedly, and just have 1 team. And it's a team that repeatedly runs out on its lease. Repeatedly. Like clockwork every 10 years. So, and then you get to the aspect of the NFL isn't driven off of ticket sale revenue, it's driven off of television rights revenue. And so the NFL owners collectively are keenly aware of market size and audience size between the different cities around America. There are only 4 markets that have NFL teams that are smaller television markets than Las Vegas, but all 4 of them are smaller, not because they're a little island of humanity in the desert like we are, but because they're next to giant cities. So you have places like Jacksonville, which is less than a 2-hour drive to 2 other NFL teams, and the 2 hours that you drive through is by and large people, not country, not, like the desert. So here we have just an isolated little group, and it's really too small for most of the owners' tastes. And so we'll see if that impacts their decision as well. And that supposedly is going to be taking place early next month.
let me ask you.
But on the upside, if they do get it put together, maybe we'll have a place to store all our orange cones.
That's true. One thing I like about you is how cynical you are. You are my favorite guy because nobody, not even Stavros Anthony, with 20 years or 29 years in Metro, that they are taught how to be cynical. And nobody can be as cynical as Bob Beer. But that's why I love you, because you tell things the way they are without upsetting anybody.
Oh,
You got
a
that.
few complaints.
How long was you in the
Over the
assembly?
years.
How long was you in the legislature?
I did 10 years in the legislature, 6 in the assembly, and 4 in the state senate. From 19.
What do you like better, the
19,
assembly or the city?
Oh, I like the city
You like the city
for
better?
many reasons. First of all, I like my own bed,
Yes.
and I get to stay in it. In the legislature, it's much more abstract and philosophical than the city council. Not just because city council is technically a nonpartisan office, and we don't declare our party when we run, but the things that we do are different. In the legislature, you talk about philosophy. You talk about how big should government be? What kind of tasks should we have government do? And
that's your expertise.
And I enjoy having those debates,
Yes.
but they're endless. Even when the gavel is dropped on that 120th day plus 1 hour, even when that gavel is dropped, the arguments continue the next day and the next month and the next year, because they're permanent philosophical discussions that ebb and flow over the course of many years. Here at the city, a lot of it is tasks that are checked off. We got that traffic light fixed. We got that side or that crosswalk placed. We got that parking lot put in at that park. We got things done, and you could check them off, and they're done. They're done. Whereas in the legislature, nothing really ever gets done. It gets continued. We make temporary decisions, but we'll be back in 2 years.
Yeah.
So I kind of like having the more concrete, defined things that you can look at in the rearview mirror and say, look what we did. And it's hard to do that.
I'm glad you mentioned those 2 years. You're not in the legislation anymore, so this doesn't affect you one way or the other one. But don't you think that 2 years in the assembly is too little of a time for anybody to do anything. You go over there, you get trained how to BS the audience and the citizens, and then you go into there, then you got 1 year off and you start running again because you're going to be running.
Well,
Don't you think a 4 years should be for everybody the
I
same
think
way?
the founding fathers of the country tried to design a system full of checks and balances. They had lived under extremely oppressive government. And they
But that
feared,
was 200 years ago.
but the fear is still there. We have extremely oppressive governments on earth, and you should fear that. That can happen to your government. It happened in Western Europe just 75 years ago. So you always have to be on guard. And no, I don't believe that the passage of 200 years has reduced that risk of rogue government at all. So with that in mind, what they set out was a Senate which has longer terms and longer durations.
That's 4 years.
In the state level it is, at the federal level it's 6.
Right.
And then a larger people's house, if you will, that has short terms, and Congress is the same way. So this is, the Nevada legislature is really constructed on the same model that the federal
So you think it's beneficiary to have...
Well, I don't think it's a problem having a body that reflects the current thinking of citizens, and that's what the assembly really is. That's why in Carson City, when you get deep into the weeds there, you'll hear the assemblymen discuss their house as the people's house, as opposed to the other guys who are not. Those are the senators, right? So, yeah, I don't have a problem with that potential high turnover in the assembly. We get the same kind of philosophical discussion going about whether or not having just 4 months every 2 years is enough. Should we have a full-time legislature? Look at all the things those guys have to deal with. But then I look at California and I say, well, gosh,
No.
has a full-time legislature really improved life in California? They're now, I think, 30 years.
Definitely not.
30 years, more people have moved out of California than moved in if you take away foreign immigrants.
Okay.
So of people who are there, people kind of like, whoa, look, this turned out not like I thought. And they leave.
Businesses as well.
Yep.
Well, let me tell you, we got 15 minutes, and I leave this for, 7 minutes?
Yeah, exactly. Sorry about that. I got to be to City Hall at 1 o'clock.
Oh, man. You have to pick the
So
day that
I'm
you
really
come
glad.
in here.
I'm really glad that you waited to ask me the question that needs a 15-minute response until I only have 7 minutes.
Yes, I know you're happy about that. This is your expertise. The sanctuary city.
Yes.
Give me your opinion first.
Well, we're not one.
Good, and we're not going to be because we just put them in the paper today.
You remember when the last sheriff announced that he's no longer having officers respond to non-injury auto accidents?
Yes.
At about the same time, he also said, and we're not going to be cooperating with ICE on criminals. But my understanding is that decision has been reversed. It was never a formal policy that was voted on by a governance board.
Okay.
It was merely a statement that the former sheriff made, and my understanding is that that's not the way this sheriff is running the department.
Good, I'm glad to hear
I believe
that.
that the Department of Justice, which currently has Las Vegas on a list of potential sanctuary cities that could be punished by the federal government, I believe they're just confused. And
Good, I'm glad to hear that because I think it is very important that we respect all the laws.
I
Federal,
agree. And, on the larger question of immigration, it's really not a question of immigration. It's a question of cultural assimilation. You are, as you noted earlier, long ago, 60 years ago, a refugee from Cuba.
Yes.
You came to America and you learned English and you got.
Oh, I speak English now. That's
good.
good.
And you're native.
Oh my God, I speak English now.
And
Good.
you got work, and you did things.
With no accent.
And you participated in society. And what we have a problem with here in America, I think, are immigrants who do not want to become American.
Right, that's the same
really
problem I have.
And
that's the same problem I have. He's Cuban too.
It may have been like this at other times in American past, and it may be that the children of those immigrants who do not want to be American will want to be American, and it could just be a short, one half a generation phenomenon. I hope that's true. Because we do not need to be creating communities of people in America who do not want to be American.
And not only that, I think it's very unfair that if some people wait 10 years, 12 years in line to come over here, and somebody else just cut the line off and come over because they feel like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the way your protege Harvey Reid one.
You're trying to pull me down that rabbit hole?
No. John, do you read the Tribune once in a while?
We don't have enough time.
Oh yeah. John read the Tribune. You don't. I know you
I
don't.
do here and there.
But he tell you. He said, that's the way it is. Any more future for Bob Beers in politics?
Oh, you never know. You never can tell what's going to happen. I am really happy here on the city council, and I plan on running again and seeing if I can continue to push things in the right
I'm
direction.
trying to make him run for Ward 5.
Well, Ward 5 isn't up for 2.25 more years.
I don't care if it's 10 years. I think
This spring it will be wards 2, 4, and 6, and then in the spring of 2019 it will be wards 1, 3, and 5.
that's Ricky Barber, right?
5 is Ricky's, and he will be he's in his fourth. He's in his third term now, so he will. Be,
so he won't be able to run.
Limited out.
So you don't need to run.
That will be an open seat.
You don't need to run again. 2 minutes.
Councilwoman Tarkanian is also termed out in 2 years, so those
Yeah,
will be
that's Ward 1.
2 open seats. Councilman Coffin will be eligible to run for another term. And then this coming spring, it's Stavros Anthony and myself running for re-election. And,
You the only two?
And Steve Ross is the third guy, but he's hit his term limits.
His term.
So he cannot run again. And so there will be an open seat out to the far north edge of the city of Las Vegas.
I hear rumors that maybe one of your friends are going to run for. I'm not supposed to say it on the air, so I'm not going to.
There's nothing like the December rumor mill.
Yes, I know
Dance of the city
that. I know
marching.
that.
Oh,
But
man.
I think you'll be happy if you don't know by now. But
Well, I think so far in Ward 1, I think I've heard of 4 or 5 candidates. Yeah. I'm sorry, Ward 6, the open seat next spring. So 4 or 5.
yeah, I thought also that Steve's wife is planning to run too.
She's
And I don't believe in dynasties.
She is announced.
She announced it already?
She is announced she's running. Yeah.
Oh, I missed that one. I don't believe in dynasties. Who else do you hear? Who else do you hear that is running?
It's
Because I know you have to run out. So.
It's an election, so if the voters select the
And it's an open seat.
you got to respect that.
It's an election and it's an open seat, so it's
School
probably
board,
14
school
people.
board member named Chris Garvey, who I believe is running. I think I've heard some scuttlebutt that Michelle Fiore may be running. There's a retired city marshal, Thaddeus, who I understand has announced his campaign. So it'll be a Donnybrook.
Well, thank you so much today. We were blessed to have Councilman Bob Beers with us today, and you're welcome anytime, and you have support here at Radio Tribune, and we wish you luck, and God bless you, and have a Merry Christmas if you don't see you, Bob.
Thanks for having me on the show.
All right.
Wow.